Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gotham Graffiti Podcast. My name is Scott, this is my cousin Gunnar, and thank you so much for joining us on this new episode of the Gotham Graffiti Podcast. We have a good show for you today, a little bit of a shorter show. I know we've said that the last two times.
This one's actually going to be shorter.
This one's actually going to be shorter, so kind of a transitional period before we go into something else, which will keep you updated on that. But to open up the show, we actually have some Green Lantern news that just recently came out. I'll go ahead and let Gunnar tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so came out earlier this week from one of the DC executive entertainment accounts. There's 4 of them. One of them, it was officially confirmed that we are getting a Green Lantern project of some kind. Mm-hmm. We don't know if it's going to be a movie. We don't know if it's going to be a show. We do know that it's going to be in this new James Gunn universe.
Right.
And we know that they are aiming to start shooting Q1 of 2025. And the only casting plot details we have is that we are getting an older Hal Jordan and a younger Jon Stewart. Mm-hmm. I'll go ahead and give a few thoughts. He'll give his, and then we've got some fan castings to go into. So just initial thoughts. I'm excited, man. I would say I'm not the biggest Green Lantern fan. I like Green Lantern, but I've never been a
diehard Green Lantern.
Nah, for me, it's always been in the Justice League. Obviously Batman, Flash is probably my second favorite superhero in general. So
right.
Then Superman, Aquaman, go on. So Green Lantern's always been. I like him, but I like him in
certain things.
I'm not a massive Green Lantern guy in general. That being said, the Jeff Johns stuff is great. I acknowledge that. All that being said, I'm excited for this because I'm tired of Green Lantern being disrespected by pop culture.
Oh, 100%.
So even though I'm not a massive Green Lantern fan, I acknowledge and respect the lore of the character. Mm-hmm. And when I see in the last, probably, honestly, since the Ryan Reynolds movie came out years ago, there's this vibe and this thought of Green Lantern as just this goofy cop, space cop. And it's no, Green Lantern's probably the 4th most powerful character in the Justice League.
Yeah.
Probably 4. You go Superman, Wonder Woman.
Top 5.
Okay, so maybe 5 because you go Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash.
We got a
Martian Manhunter, and then you could probably exchange Green Lantern, Aquaman like this, just depending on the iteration.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm also loving the idea that we're getting a buddy cop Green Lantern and that Hal's going to be older. I love that. Because anytime you ever see this in the comics or in animation, whatever it is, John's always the new recruit, but he gets kind of how do I say this? He's just not focused on. And so with this, from my interpretation of the news we got, is that we're going to see Hal more so as a mentor and get to see Jon Stewart, come up through the ranks, especially with him being an ex-Marine. It'd be really cool that this is now an adult project, seeing John deal with some of maybe some PTSD he has going into the Lantern Corps and
how that affects his willpower.
Hal also having served in the Air Force and kind of them bonding over this. So there's a lot that I'm really excited about in terms of that dynamic and seeing it. For me personally, I would like for this to be a movie. Not that I wouldn't love to watch it if they decided to make it a show.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is something that would definitely.
This sounds like a good 2-hour 10, 2-hour 30.
It just sounds like a solid movie.
Yeah.
It just sounds especially with Gunn behind it. I think this could be something that's done really well. So yeah, those are just my initial thoughts.
Yeah, and I don't remember what episode it was of this show, but I actually pitched a very similar idea. So a buddy cop movie with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Kind of same as him. I'm not really been a massive Green Lantern fan. I do really appreciate him. I really like him in the Justice League animated TV show. And I think that there are certain times where Green Lantern needs to have his time to shine and not just be kind of the goofy B-tier Justice League character. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. I would really like to see kind of what he just said about the mentor-mentee aspect of Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart's relationship. That could be, like I said, we've seen James Gunn, what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that would translate near perfectly into what Green Lantern's going to be doing. I would like it slightly more grounded than James Gunn's stuff that I've seen. Like, Guardians 3 kind of got a little wacky, but that also is just kind of how James Gunn does it. But I would like to see a slightly more grounded version, but still get into the cosmic zaniness of a guy who wears a ring and constructs
like the planet of Oa and all the other Lantern Corps. And
So I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. All I know is that I'm excited. I really hope that this is a movie. I hope that this will continue into the slate and we'll get to see Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, and like Superman and Wonder Woman and all of them hanging out together. Here's
the one thing I do hope, and after this we'll go into your casting. I really hope we get to see the difference in Jon and Hal's uniforms. I've always loved how Jon and Hal have very distinct, like it's the same torso and legs, but the accents and the gloves and the boots are different. So like I hope they keep that classic look of the both of them and don't just make it. Gloves. Yeah, and like I don't want it to be like, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern where it's just this base CGI suit that everyone has.
Please do not do that.
I want to see a practical effect Green Lantern suit. If you have to CGI certain parts of it, I get it.
Well,
but like
like what they did with Tom Holland's Spider-Man suit, where it's just completely CGI and
it looks terrible.
It looks stupid. Like, just please give us a live-action suit. Anyways,
so go into your castings. Yeah. We each picked a actor that we would like to see or think would do well for both Hal and Jon. Why don't you go ahead and go first?
So actually, when we were coming up with these castings, I said you're probably not going to like who I chose for Hal Jordan. Because I know you're not a huge fan of this actor, but I feel like he could do a decent job because he was in Top Gun. So I have Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan. I think he actually carries himself similar to Green Lantern. It's not identical, but I mean, seeing him in Top Gun.
So you're gonna make Hal Jordan 5'5"?
You can work around that. Dude, do you know how like Robert Downey Jr. had to wear like lifts in his shoes in some scenes because he's a lot shorter than all the other actors, and you can't tell in the movie.
I just for context, it's not that I just before I don't want to look like a Tom Cruise hater. Just for clarification, I just have never I've never found him believable. He takes me as like the theater kid in school that thought he was and it's like, dude, you're in theater. It just was like.
Okay, can you acknowledge at least that he did a good job in the newest Top Gun Maverick?
He did well, but I also would say I think a lot of what he did well was playing off of what's his name?
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller. I think Miles Teller made that movie.
No, he did. He did a great job.
So and Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
So I get it.
So if you give him a good actor to play off of, is what I was going to go with that.
All right, finish your pitch. Yeah. Finish your pitch. My apologies.
I could not come up with an actor for this for Jon Stewart. The only person in my mind that would make sense is Michael B. Jordan for Jon Stewart. I could see him playing a new angsty recruit. He's already got the build for it. He's already massive. He looks like an Olympian.
Yeah.
We saw kind of what he did in Creed. We saw what he did. I mean, obviously Killmonger's a completely different character than Jon Stewart, but I think that he could do a decent job. We've seen he's got good acting chops. Like, he's a very good actor.
Oh, he's a great actor. Yeah.
So I feel like he could pull off Jon Stewart pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Jon Stewart. Yeah, I would be very disappointed if Tom Cruise gets cast as Hal Jordan.
But if they could play off.
Because the other thing with Tom Cruise is, dude, he would just be Tom Cruise. He wouldn't be Hal Jordan. He'd be Tom Cruise.
Dude, but Tom Cruise has a kind of similar personality to Hal Jordan anyway. He's already kind of like this cocky, know-it-all, like I'm the best, whatever.
I guess. Michael B. Jordan was a great take. For me, so who I've got it.
So do I get half points for that?
Well, I mean, it's just your pitch,
no,
but
I was joking.
I like the Jon Stewart pick for you.
So who do you got?
So for me, for Hal Jordan, I've got James Marsden. James Marsden is the guy who plays Cyclops. He is the third man in Superman Returns.
Yes.
So James Marsden, because reason I picked James Marsden is I think James Marsden is, if this Green Lantern is going to be a transition of a aging Hal to a young John, two things. I don't think Hal needs to be in his late 50s.
Oh, yeah.
But James Marsden's in his 40s. You know, he looks like a more matured man visually, but he's still young and clean and cut enough that he visually would pull it off very well. Growing up on the original X-Men movies and seeing what he was able to do with Cyclops, seeing his acting, I mean, like, even it's a goofy movie, but like even if you watch The Notebook, like as the guy who gets left, like he does a very good job at where you're like, when you're watching the movie, as happy as you are to see Allie go back to Noah, you're like, oh man, dude. Like you feel like he's really good at that. And so I think he would nail the
passing of the torch aspect is what you're saying?
Not only the passing of the torch, I think he would perfectly nail to your point where Tom Cruise is arrogant or whatever. I feel like Tom Cruise is too arrogant, whereas I feel like James Marsden would nail the I'm still Hal Jordan, but I've been around the block a couple times, and I know now that I'm kind of
a little more humble.
A little bit more humble, a little bit more wiser with age.
Okay.
So James Marsden is my pick for Hal. My pick for John is Damson Idris, or Idris. I don't know how you pronounce it. He is the main character. Do you know the show Snowfall?
I don't.
You've never seen like the TikTok clips of, I built this, me, brick by brick. Okay, hang on. We're going to cut.
Okay, so you just showed me some TikToks of this actor who we're talking about. Some edits. So I'll go ahead and let you finish what you were saying.
Yeah, so my pick, the reason I picked him is I feel like John, to me, needs to be a... Like, to me, in my pitch, I don't want him to be an A-list celebrity. Like, I don't want to see a A-list actor come. Like, I want to see somebody like Damson, who he had Snowfall, which was a massive, 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 massive hit. It's huge. But it was TV. This would be, now he's done other movies. The other thing is he's got great range. So he's very, think like what he is in Snowfall. He's very like black culture Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the vibe of the show. And he does it great. He's a phenomenal actor. And I think especially with Jon Stewart, a lot of Jon Stewart's lore about being from the projects and him growing up in not a great part of town and dealing with a lot of adversity and having to go into the military to kind of get out of it. Like, I think he would nail the Jon Stewart aspect of his Green Lantern very, very well.
I can agree with that.
Also, I think with Jon Stewart, we a lot of times see Jon Stewart's got a much quicker fuse than Hal does. He's much more aggressive and much more kind of angry at times. And obviously from those things that you can tell, he can even just his voice, he can gradually go, and then he's there. So for me, I think that pairing also goes really well visually together. So yeah, those would be my two picks. So y'all will have to let us know which fan pitch you like more. And going off of that, we are going to go straight into Read of the Week. So for this week's Read of the Week, we have a gift from my cousin. We have Gunslinger Spawn.
Yes.
The first volume. So if y'all have watched the channel, you know that I love Spawn. He's one of my favorite characters. And if you've watched it even longer, you know that I love Westerns. So, this is a match made in heaven. Basically, it's a Spawn that is in the let me see if I remember. It's one of two. It's either the 1860s or the 1810s. That's really specific, I know, but it's one of the two. I can't remember because I read this right when you got this for me, and that was Christmas. Yeah, so it's been like 6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great. It's your typical image art, so they don't reinvent the wheel with it, but you know, with Spawn's art, you know, you don't really need to. It's Spawn, you know what you're getting. It's also the reason I love this book is it's dialogue heavy. So like you're not getting a bunch of filler. You know, with a lot of times with trades you'll get filler pages, and with this you're not. You get a lot of dialogue. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck in this. You get to see Spawn, this version of Spawn. You get to see him fighting the Clown. You get to see him fighting some of the warriors from Hell and fighting in that time period though, and he's having to deal with it. You know, it's not modern day Spawn, and it's not modern day Al. So I love it. It's also, this is one of those books that some really good trades and really good comics a lot of times are just aesthetic. Like the aesthetic of a book really, guys, seeing Cowboy Spawn with a 6-shooter just is cool. And it's
that was funny. I saw that in the thing. I was like, Gunnar would love that.
Yeah. So it's
I just saw Spawn with his revolver. Like, yeah.
It's just a lot of fun, especially if you're into that kind of thing. It's great. Right now it's retailing for $10. So that's the other thing. Since it's an image, it doesn't go for as much, and it's a pretty thick trade. It's a solid trade. I still need to get the other volumes of it. The only thing I have noticed is that it is kind of hard finding these out in just print.
Well, I know that they're very popular.
Yeah, so I might have to end up ordering them at some point to complete the set. But yeah, I mean, it's great. You know, it's typical Todd McFarlane Spawn. You get a bunch of variant covers in the back. I know I mentioned that a lot, but for me, I love getting variant covers in the back of trades or omnis. I just love seeing the other art that was going to be used before they got to the final product. Yeah, so if you're a fan of Spawn and you want something different and you want to see him in a different environment, fight some familiar faces, but have to adapt in the time period and the situations he's been dealt in this time, pick this one up. It's a great go. This also transitions into the King Spawn run a little bit. Not entirely, but a little bit. So if you want to get some, stuff that ties into King Spawn, that also was a more recent Spawn run, you can get this as well and read through that. So yeah, that's this week's Read of the Week.
All right, so to close out the show,
we told y'all it would actually be short this time.
Yes, we're gonna make it. So we're back on rotation, like we were saying last week. So we're doing this or that this week. So not a competition, but still, somebody's gonna be hurting at the end of this. So since I opened, why don't you go ahead and give us your first this or that conundrum?
I got some good ones this week, guys.
Yeah.
My first this or that: the death of Superman or Man of Steel.
Ooh. Wow. Ooh. Slap me in the face with that one.
Stick the dagger in the liver with that one.
Yeah, a little bit, twisting it.
So like either your favorite live action superhero movie or your favorite animated superhero movie.
Oh, this is gonna hurt. I might have to say Man of Steel. Unfortunately, reason being is because as much as I love Death of Superman, I have so much nostalgia for Man of Steel, and like it got me through some stuff in high school.
I gotcha.
So like if I had to part with that movie, that would be really tough. As much as it would suck to part with
I gotcha.
the Death of Superman, because that is I might say something controversial here. I think the story in Death of Superman, the animated movie, is better than Man of Steel.
Oh, well, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's controversial or not. But I don't know if I could part with that movie. So
I understand.
I would have to go Man of Steel. So.
I gotcha. I'm not shocked by that. Just for me. Oh, yeah, by the way, if y'all haven't watched when we do this, we ask and then just for fun we give what our answer would be. For me, I'm picking Death of Superman. I love Man of Steel, but I mentioned it before, my love for all things comics comes from animation. It's what I grew up on, the old 90s DCAU. So that slate, we just spent 3 episodes talking about it, is very near and dear to me. Death of Superman's in my top 4. So yeah, that, for me, I picked Death of Superman.
Yeah, you weren't lying. You were talking
mad dude.
Stuff
yeah.
before the episode.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey, just you wait. Just you wait.
Okay, well, I got some good ones.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so Hugh Jackman's Wolverine or Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Really?
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
I feel like that would be a little difficult.
I love the character of Wolverine more than I love Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I love Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man more than I love the character of Spider-Man.
Oh,
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is like my child. Like it's my favorite trilogy ever. Mm-hmm. As much as I love Spider-Man the character. By the way, I didn't mean to say that sound like I don't love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man the character, but like that is my favorite piece of media of Spider-Man. Right. There is not another piece of
that to you is Spider-Man is what you're saying.
Well, not even just as the character, just like there's not the 90s show, which is pretty close, but not the 90s show, not the comics, not the games. There's not another piece of Spider-Man media that I love more than Tobey's movies. And so, yeah, like I've got, just to give you an example of that, I'll give you a little side note, a little real life stuff here. I'm in a lot of trading collector groups. I'm meeting up with a guy probably this weekend who's got the original deluxe Hot Toys of Black Suit Toby. And he wants me to trade my repainted Boba Fett and my deluxe edition of Mandalorian Hot Toys.
Willing to give up a lot for it.
I'm willing to give both those up because number one, the Toby stuff's super expensive, and number two, there's just not that many collectibles of it, and it's so near and dear to my. When he texted me, I was like, "Yeah, man, let's."
Especially as big of a
Spider-Man 3 fan as I am, I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." So, yeah, so like that's how much I love. Not that I don't love Hugh's Wolverine, but like I said, Hugh's Wolverine isn't even my favorite
iteration of Wolverine.
It's not even my favorite iteration of Wolverine. So
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay.
I mean, for you, I'm assuming you picked Toby as well. I know you're not a massive Wolverine guy.
Toby.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, second one.
What you got?
The Clone Wars or the original trilogy?
It hurts, but I know my answer. It's the original trilogy.
What?
It would have to be the original trilogy.
What? Here, wait. Let me see if this changes your answer. When I mean the Clone Wars, I mean everything that's tied with that. Bad Batch, the movie, like everything that is a part of the Clone Wars universe. It's all with it. See if that changes your answer at all.
Still have to be the original trilogy.
Really?
With the original trilogy...
Well, Luke's like your favorite character.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if Star Wars was only 4, 5, and 6, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But because of what George Lucas did with the prequels, and then we got the addition on with the show, and then we had a bunch of spin-offs of that, like, I think the Clone Wars era is probably the most interesting and fascinating part about Star Wars. But I could not live, like, if you had made me choose between those two pieces of Star Wars media, I would have to choose the original trilogy, not just for nostalgia, but for the redemption of Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader, and then, you know, Luke Skywalker and old Obi-Wan. Like, I have to.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. I assume you choose the Clone Wars. Right?
Yeah, I'd pick the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The original trilogy isn't even my favorite trilogy. It's not the sequels, for clarify. It's the prequels.
Whoa, careful. Careful.
Yeah, so for me, my favorite era of Clone Wars is the prequels and Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Aside from The Mandalorian, that's what got me into Star Wars.
Right.
Also, my favorite character is Darth Maul. So, obviously.
You have to pick.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, all right, what's your second one?
Mine's actually a Star Wars question as well.
Oh, okay.
You can only watch one, so if you choose one, you can't watch the other one ever again.
Okay.
The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones?
Oh. For clarification, Attack of the Clones is like in my top 3. I know that's a hot take. Right. I love Attack of the Clones.
That's why I chose it, because Attack of the Clones
is
your
and because
favorite,
the Phantom Menace kind of sucks, but it's got Darth. It's the only movie with Darth Maul.
That's why I chose it.
You know, in all honesty, I don't really go back and rewatch the Star Wars movies that often. I'd have to go with the Phantom Menace. Only like as much as I love Attack of the Clones. I mean, dude, like. It's the only movie with Darth Maul.
You can
I've
deal
got
with Jar Jar.
Hey, I can deal with Jar Jar and everything for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The last 20 minutes of that movie is some of the best Star Wars there is.
Yeah, it's probably one of the, maybe like besides Anakin versus Obi-Wan, it's probably one of the best choreographed fights in the entire.
It's definitely number 2, right?
It's at least 1 or 2. Yeah.
It would have to be. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, definitely Darth Maul. I mean, especially like it would just like what Ray Parker did for that character. Like, I mean...
Especially what Dave Filoni did for it.
Like, I probably go back and watch a Star Wars movie a year. Right. So it's like, yeah, as much as I love Attack of the Clones, and that is very hard. Because Phantom Menace isn't in my top 3, but Attack of the Clones is.
Right.
So, but yeah, because I'm a Darth Maul stan, I have to go with Maul. Hey, by the way, side note, can we get off on a side note really quick? Are you okay with that?
Go for it.
Something I'm pissed about that's going on TikTok, how people are calling Maul a fraud because he loses a bunch.
Oh.
Guys, he loses to, okay, first of all,
he loses to Obi-Wan.
He killed Qui-Gon Jinn. Mm-hmm. He killed Qui-Gon Jinn, who was, correct me if I'm wrong, at the time a top 3 Jedi.
He was up there, yeah.
At top 5 at least at the time.
So at least, yeah.
The only reason he beat Obi-Wan was Maul got arrogant and overconfident, and that's the whole thing. That's his downfall, right? It's the plot. But if they were to meet and Maul actually went band for band with Obi-Wan at that time, he would have killed Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, yeah, Obi-Wan was a Padawan at the time. He wasn't going to...
And then let's get into the others, right? Obviously, he doesn't beat the Emperor. At the time, the Emperor is the most powerful being in the universe.
The only person I think who could beat the Emperor is, like...
Maybe Anakin?
Windu, Anakin, like, prime Anakin, and, like, Yoda.
So those 3.
Yeah.
So, well, even, I mean, Yoda fights him and kind of loses.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, like, Yoda 200 years
prior. Oh. And then let's go into... yes, he obviously loses to Obi-Wan, but that's part of the plot of Star Wars, is that he can't beat Obi-Wan. It's like the if you're a wrestling fan, It's like The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. That's like one of the greatest rivalries ever. Shawn Michaels is regarded by a lot of people as the greatest wrestler of all time. He could never beat The Undertaker. That's like plot, right? So, same thing. And then the one thing that chaps my khakis on a Wednesday, bro, is the Ahsoka fight. He wasn't trying to kill Ahsoka. He was trying to talk her into joining him.
I just watched that arc. He he was literally about to. He was just like, okay, you're not going to join me. I'm going to leave.
And then he tries to leave. Also, there's moments in that fight when he's not even trying, and he's beating her.
Yeah, well, because throughout the fight, he's trying to get her to join her, and then right at the very end, he's like, I'm going to give you one last chance. Are you going to come with me or not? And she was like, no. And he got distracted for something. He got like 10v1 by a bunch of elite clones. Well, that's
and
what
Rex.
happened. Is like she used the Force to like throw him off balance, and he fell.
Yeah.
And then the clones caught him, and he's like, "No, just let me die, because you don't know what's about to happen."
Right. Yeah. So
like he wasn't in the right headspace.
Real quick rant, but like,
yeah.
I mean, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I understand if I'm biased. Maul's a top 7 Sith of all time.
He's up there. He's not in top 5, but he's. Definitely
I know but that's what I know he's not top 5.
He probably
he's 6 or 7. Maybe 7, 8.
Maybe 8, yeah.
Maybe 8.
Somewhere around there.
He's top 10 and he's not 10.
Yes.
Okay, so just quick rant. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Okay, so my third one. This or that. Would you rather see, because I'm assuming, I would assume correct in assuming that we're not going to get Robin in both the Pattinson universe and the new Brave and Bold universe. Would you rather see Robin in the Pattinson universe or in the new Brave and the Bold, whatever that's going to be?
That is an interesting question.
I say that, you're a big Dick Grayson fan, so
Right,
where do you
right.
rather see that arc happen?
Well, because, talk out loud here for a second, like, if you were to go with Pattinson, you would have, like, an isolated, more grounded version of Robin.
Yes.
But if you were to go with James Gunn, it would be probably closer to the comic books, but he would also get to interact with other superheroes.
Correct.
And possibly the Bat family. So.
Correct. So it's basically like, do you want a Batman the Animated Series Robin, or do you want like a DC Animated Universe Robin becoming Nightwing? Like, basically that's what it is.
I might have to go with Pattinson's Batman.
Really?
Yeah, because I think the problem, at least in the public's eye, obviously we don't feel this way, but
right.
Like in the public's eye, Robin's just kind of like that. He's the goofy sidekick of Batman that was like of a bygone era, and like we can't have a Batman story now with Robin in it and be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Because the last live action we got Batman and Robin in the '90s, so like
and Batman Forever.
And Batman Forever, which I mean.
I
can enjoy those movies, but they're not the best.
Really quick underrated. I think Chris O'Donnell and what Joel Schumacher did keep in mind for the 90s and what the time was. I think Batman Forever was actually not a terrible rendition of Robin.
No, I agree, but I'm saying like
Batman and
Robin's not great, but like anyway, the reason I say that is because that's the last time we got to see Robin on live action screen. So if you were to because everyone loves Pattinson now. They love how grounded the story is. He's a very well-respected actor, all of that. So, like, if you were to bring in a Robin and tell it within the context of that story and, like, actually make him what he's supposed to be, yeah.
Okay, interesting. I didn't think you were going to pick that. For me, I picked Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Only because I picked Brave and the Bold for the exact reasons you just said. I feel like, as a Jason Todd fan, I feel like Jason Todd would be a better fit in the isolated... becoming Red Hood
but that
story.
Wasn't the question, though.
No, I know. But for me, in my thought process, I would rather see Dick Grayson become Nightwing,
right,
and like interact with Superman and the Justice League, and we're getting the Teen Titans movie. So like, for me, I'd rather see that. I do agree, though. I think, and obviously with Matt Reeves, I think he would do Robin excellent.
Right.
But I would just, if I was picking a Robin for Pattinson, I'd be like, let's do Jason Todd.
Okay.
Also, he's got a 77 Challengers, the Batmobile. Like, that's the perfect Jason Todd stealing the wheels and tires off the Batmobile story. So,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, so what's your third?
My third is the DCAU movie slate or the DCAU cartoon shows.
So,
the DCAU versus DCAU.
I gotta go. I gotta go the shows only for the animated series. Like,
yeah.
I would pick the slate over the shows if Batman the Animated Series wasn't there. Like I could live without Batman Beyond and Superman and Justice League.
I don't know if I could live without Justice League.
I know you're a little bit of a bigger fan of Justice League than I am.
Yeah.
I love Justice League. It's not that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just like what we were talking about. Like I get Batman versus Robin. I get Flashpoint. I get the Death of Superman. I get Dark Apocalypse War, Justice League Dark. Like there's more. Since I'm a little bit more of a niche fan, I get more of my niches in there. I'm also a massive Deathstroke fan. I get a lot of Deathstroke. So.
But just for
the Batman the Animated Series. I mean, the Batman the Animated Series is my favorite piece of comic book media that exists. So, yeah, I mean, if y'all saw, this is just a piece of my collection. If y'all saw my collection, I've got a mural of the animated series.
He's got what, personally signed by Kevin Conroy?
I've got like Kevin Conroy autographs. I've got limited edition collectibles. Like, so like the animated series for me is like my like. If I can only have one thing ever, it's that. So for that reason alone, I'd have to go with the original DCAU.
Yeah, I'd have to choose the shows for Justice League and Batman the Animated Series.
And that's not a slight on Superman and Batman Beyond, right?
Oh.
Love those too.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just if that wasn't in it, I'd pick those.
Yeah.
So for my fourth, it's a little bit off the wall.
Okay.
So context going into it, you can only pick a trio. So all media of these individuals, trio, whatever.
Like of a franchise?
No. So here's.
Okay.
You can only pick one trio of Spider-Man villains. Venom, Doc Ock, and Mysterio, or Green Goblin, Kraven, and Sandman.
So it basically comes down to Green Goblin versus Venom.
It basically is Green Goblin versus Venom. Because I know there's a lot of Doc Ock and Kraven fans. That's like B-tier Spider-Man. So I gave you an A, B, and C tier villain.
Right.
For each trio. So
okay, so remind me, it's Venom,
Doc Ock, Mysterio, or Green Goblin, Kraven, and Sandman.
Kraven and Sandman. So Venom, Mysterio, Doc Ock. As much as this hurts to say, I might have to go with the Venom team.
The Venom trio?
Yeah, because you got to think, like, obviously Venom is a really great villain, but like that also includes Superman getting the black suit and that whole.
You mean Spider-Man?
Yeah, sorry. Did I say Superman?
Yeah, you said Superman.
My bad.
They do both get a black suit.
They do, yeah, for different reasons. But yeah, that involves Spider-Man getting the black suit and the whole, like, that really good character development that happens with that. So, like, I think I would
have the last 25 years.
Yeah. I think I'd have to, because, like, as much as Green Goblin versus Spider-Man is really cool, you can only do it so many times before it gets a little
right. It's
stale.
Batman and Joker. At a certain point, Batman and Joker also get stale.
Right.
It's the same idea.
So yeah, I'd have to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking the same thing. Obviously, I just went on the rant about the Tobey movies.
Right.
So it would suck to lose the first one, but Spider-Man 3 is my favorite. You get Spider-Man 2, which is the best one in the trilogy.
You also get Doc Ock, which is still a great villain.
You get Doc Ock.
There's also cool stories you could tell with Mysterio.
So for me, I mean, yeah, like I'm a Venom fan outside of Spider-Man lore as well.
Right,
so yeah, so for me, I'm picking that trio as well.
Okay. Mine also is a little bit, it's not as off the wall as that one, but it's a little different. So you have to pick one franchise.
Okay.
Either the Rambo franchise or the Rocky franchise.
Oh. It's funny, I was just talking about Rambo the other day.
Oh, really? Which one you gonna pick?
Y'all should see what I've got in our living room. I've got a 24 by 36 canvas of Rocky
just
knocking out Drago. I have to go with the Rocky movies. Like, honestly, the First Blood. Like, if you were asking me the first Rocky or First Blood, I'd pick First Blood. I love the Rambo movies. But as much as I love the Rambo movies, the second and the third one are... The second one's not terrible, but it's definitely a timepiece for what it was. The third one's not good. That one they came out with in like 2008, where Stallone was a little bit older, it was all right. And the last one they made, it was cool, but it was definitely goofy. But it was cool to see Stallone at like 70 still being Rambo, having a ranch in Texas. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, dude, the Rocky, I mean, because the first I mean, yeah, because then you also have to include Creed. So, like, I get the Creed movies as well because it's the same franchise. So,
because the thing about the Rocky franchise is there's really only like one bad movie.
There's only one bad. It's 5. 5 is the only.
Because all of them are either good or great.
Yes, correct. So, and then the first 2 Creeds are great. I wasn't a massive fan of the third one, but the first 2
I
Creeds.
never watched the third one. I was never even interested.
The second or the first 2 Creeds are great. So yeah, for that reason, I'd have to go Rocky, unfortunately.
Okay. So what is your very last this or that?
This is a suit question.
A suit question? Mm-hmm. Okay.
New 52 Nightwing or Hush Nightwing?
With the red?
So it's either New 52 red with the red boots, like the red insole boots, and the kind of different mask.
Yeah.
Or like, and the reason I pick Hush is because I think that's probably the best black and blue Nightwing looks.
I go with the red.
You go New 52?
Oh yeah, I love the red Nightwing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the same way with Robin. Like if Robin's wearing the all red.
So you like the Tim Drake outfit a lot? Interesting.
I don't mind the red and green, but like the red with the yellow and black, that's.
So yeah, so you're picking New 52. Yeah, I pick Hush.
I figured you would.
I pick Hush. Yeah. So for me, the New 52 Nightwing suit, like it's cool, but to me, man, that Hush suit is just like I don't think you can make Nightwing look any more perfect than that, in my opinion.
I do have to agree. Like when you think of Nightwing, that's what you think of.
Yeah. So okay, all right. You surprised me on that one. I thought you'd pick Hush. So
it's just I'm a sucker for a red and black color scheme.
A good red and black color scheme.
If you put one of my favorite superheroes in a red and black color scheme, I'm like, well, that's all I need.
That's it. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Okay. So what's your final?
I have a feeling I know what your answer is going to be, but we'll see. So, this or that, an Uncharted 5 video game that's revolving around what's the brother's name? Sam? Yes. Or a Batman Beyond video game in the style
Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Batman Beyond. As much as I love the Uncharted franchise,
I was struggling for a last question.
If you said Nathan, if it was a 5th game with Nathan, that would have given me more pause. But
he's too old and he retired.
Sam's older than him.
Oh, that's right.
Sam's older than Nathan by like 9 years.
Yeah.
So
do like okay, I'll do you a bonus one. What if you did like it's an Uncharted game, but it's like the Dark Knight Returns for Nathan Drake versus the Batman Beyond video game.
Can you give me what are they chasing? Because that's a huge decision.
Dude, well, they already did Pirates. They did the Mayans. They did Himalayas. What was the third game?
Spanish.
Or
no, the Spanish was the first game.
That was like, oh yeah. Well, it was
The third one was they were
was the Ring, right?
They were in the Middle East. They were like in Egypt.
It was the Crusades. Remember?
No, I know. I'm just saying, but they were like in the Middle East. They were.
So you're asking like. Not necessarily what they're chasing, but like the atmosphere?
Atmosphere, time period, that kind of thing.
Okay. No, I got it. What if he's chasing down like some like Scandinavian treasure? And you get like Nordic...
I'm a big Viking nerd.
That's why I said that.
I'm a big Viking nerd. Oh man, dude. Who's doing the Batman Beyond game? Is it Rocksteady?
It's the same people who do the
Rocksteady?
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest, that changes my answer. I'd have to go Uncharted 5 only because, I mean, the last game Rocksteady released was really bad. Suicide Squad to Hell to Pay.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't the same people that did the Arkham franchise, though.
Right, but they're not there anymore.
I'm saying those people, like the same people who did the Arkham games, would be doing this game. It's the same team. Same writers.
You know, I'm still going to have to go Uncharted 5.
Really?
Only because the Arkham trilogy and Origins is like, I've got my fix. And I feel like with the Batman Beyond game, there's a lot more room for error. There's a lot more room for them to mess that up than an Uncharted 5. And like I said, with as big of just a Viking lore and Nordic Scandinavian nerd as I am, seeing like Drake in like a winter climate chasing some Viking treasure, Viking, you know, whatever.
And Sam will be there.
And you get some cool Nordic like villain. Like to me, that's just It's too. I know it would be perfect, especially with what they did with 4.
You see, that's funny. I think the opposite. I feel like the Uncharted 5 would have more room for error, considering the fact that it feels like the story had already closed in 4.
Definitely,
versus...
I get that. I mean, I guess my thing also with Rocksteady is like, even in Arkham Knight, as much as I love Arkham Knight, they were exiting Paul Dini out. Paul Dini didn't have as much of a touch on it, and so I know for sure Paul Dini wouldn't have a touch on the Batman Beyond game.
Well, I know this is a hypothetical though.
Right, I'm thinking more realistic. I still go Uncharted 5 only because I've got my Batman fix.
I figured you would have gone with Batman.
I've got my Batman fix. I would be too nervous for the Batman Beyond game that they would somehow mess it up. Mm-hmm. And other than God of War, Uncharted is my favorite video game franchise.
Right.
So, or my favorite PlayStation franchise, I should say.
Yeah.
Dude, Drake chasing some Nordic Viking
that would be pretty cool.
To me, that's like that would be like my niche fandom of culture and things like that would be it. So,
well, on that surprising pick, why don't you?
Little bit of a shocker there, but all right, guys. So that was our 22nd episode. We hope you liked it. Please hit the subscribe button for us and check out our shorts. We release a couple shorts during the week. If you're more into the short form content, kept this one a little bit shorter. We'll be back next week. We'll be back next week with Family Feud.
Yes.
So that's a fan favorite. So we'll be back with Family Feud next week, and we'll see you then.